all my valuable guests. I'm Roy, and I'm very glad to represent the new Canadian Community Center. Here in the list is printed in New Chinese, but here we are New Canadians. And so the Community Center is named as the New Canadian Community Center. All right. So for the production, I have the PowerPoint, and I made it green for our green color, and make everybody has a good eyes for it. Okay, and the New Canadian Community Center is started from September 9th, 2001, and our objective is to serve the community and to harmonize the society and to enhance the development, either including yourself and our whole society. And then we intensively to serve the seniors, children, and the women and the new immigrants. That is the group in our society who needs our support the most. Okay, next. Thank you. Okay, and the New Canadian Community Center is a volunteer-based community service network. And now we have about 1,900 registered members, and we provide a wider variety of the valuable services for seniors and the children and other newcomers in the community. And also up to now, we organized about 80 community services and established the weekly senior club. And in Markham, Richmond Hill, Vaughan area, and downtown Toronto, and even one just recently established in London.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I need one. Okay. And since 2002, so we have all the seniors to have all the events and parties. Yeah, that's. I won't make it too intensive, right? To give you some pictures. At the weekend, the seniors, they all have the group. Depends on their interest. They can have all kinds of the events like Tai Chi and like the dancing and the choirs. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of a little girl here.
Yeah.
A pretty little girl. I assume that she's your daughter.
Yeah, my daughter. And
that's a great example of early promotion or early development of civic participation.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Next, we will have Carolina Lam of the People's Christian Academy.
Thank you. My name is Carolina Lam from People's Christian Academy. People's Christian Academy is a Christian-based education from JK to grade 12. We have a student body of 630, representing over 400 families, and over 90% of that is for immigrants. And the topic we'd like to bring to the minister's attention today is about faith-based funding. This issue was very political during last provincial election, but I'd like to bring it up today because this issue hasn't been resolved yet. This issue is very unique to Ontario, and Ontario actually is the only province in Canada that funded Catholic schools, but not any other faith. We found this is very inequitable, and also this is a situation that is affecting about 53,000 students that currently represent 2% of all Ontario students. These students, we choose to put them in the faith that we'd like them to be and grow up, and I'm sure you all understand that education is very dear to all our parents' hearts. And we choose to have this faith-based education for our kids. But unfortunately, currently Ontario government, because of historic reasons, that is not funding these faith-based schools. And I really want to bring this up and ask the minister to take a proactive approach to organize a committee that will bring all the necessary parties together to address this issue. This issue is not as big as what people have seen. It's only 53,000 students in faith-based, only 2% of the whole population, of the whole student population in Ontario. I may not know how to create the fundings or whatnot, but I would say that the committee that will be formed could get together and bring all the parties' voices so that this group of people could be addressed, and we think this inequitable issue could be addressed accordingly. And I believe when there's a will and there's a way. Thank you.
Next, we will have two representatives from Richmond Hill and Markham Chinese Business Association, Mr. Chen Leung and Mr. Ricky Chan, and I believe Mr. Leung is speaking. Mr. Leung.
Good afternoon. I represent the Richmond Hill and Markham Chinese Business Association as a director. Those point of views that we express are currently those of our own and we subject to board approval. Mr. Minister, we like the issues have been well established and well articulated by other members. Mr. Minister, I'd like you to consider two recommendations. One is to take the entire issue of equitable funding formula to your government and to the federal government based on the immigrants and where they are located, not based on provincial preferences. Point number two, there is a need for an Ontario solution to an Ontario immigration problem. And that is whereas there are many, many provinces that have their own immigration offices in the various locations where we accept immigrants, I believe it is time for Ontario to have their own office to determine what immigrants we need to bring our economy to full employment equity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leung. We have two representatives from the Scarborough-York Region Chinese Business Association, and they are Mr. Lai and Mr. Lau. I don't believe they are here, and I trust that they will send in their submissions. The next speaker will be Mr. Jerry Wong from St. Stephen's Community House. Jerry?
Hi everybody. St. Stephen's Community House is a multi-service organization serving the West Downtown area. We have lots of English classes and employment training center and settlement service. And I would like to highlight 4 issues that we recognize that this is very important that we can help the Chinese newcomers more. The first one is, I agree with Patrick Au that there is a huge funding gap for the Chinese immigrants. The newcomers, we know that they are facing a lot of stress and they need counseling service for more in-depth counseling service. For settlement service, there's a lot of traffic and lots of people, and the settlement workers are not very well trained on family therapy and other individual counseling training. So I agree that there are more counseling service that can help the families and of the newcomers. And the second issue is the language barrier. Lots of people coming to Canada, they even don't know ABCD. They're starting from the literacy level, and from there it takes a long road to go to present English and use English to the English skills to find a job or to communicate with to integrate in the Canadian society. So there should be more classes. And the third one, there should be more settlement service to serve even the non-status immigrants. Our agency adopted the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. That means we include all people to serve. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. The next speaker will be Rebecca Lee from C Center, Somewhat Enhanced Access Services. Rebecca, please.
Yes. Today, at least the organizer already placed the 7 main categories of immigrant service on the table for us to discussion. So I don't think I need to repeat. But I think there's still 3 missing categories because that is very important to everyone. The first is housing. The second one is a youth service. The third one is about the coordination and collaboration partnership among 3 levels of government. So these 3 items should need your input and also the comments later. But all these all these 10 categories together, because 7 add 3 more together as a package of the immigrant service, I think. we should set primary and secondary, but each one is really important to newcomers. And the weight of each service depends on the needs of the newcomer. My concern are how to build this effective service system, how to access to the newcomer and bridge service related to the mental health of Chinese newcomer during the adaptation and integration process. According to some research study, many newcomers lack of knowledge and skill in overcome negative in their settlement integration process. As a result, many of them suffer from destroying mental health, and in some instances, they will have some unhappy incident happen. So their frustration causes a lot of, from the immigration process should have outgoing. So how to balance their emotion and psychological needs? Education and prevention service on the mental health is more appropriate and effective way for the newcomers. So that's why especially in this year, we focus on the mental health problem of the newcomers. So that's why we want to do more prevention and education. But for the free level of government funding, I should request that it's more transparent and fair to each organization to apply, and also hope them have not duplicate the service. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Now we just brought on transparency. Great. I've been waiting for this to come up. The next in line to speak will be Elliot Yip from the Cross-Cultural Community Services Association. Elliot.
Thanks. My name is Elliot. I'm from the Cross-Cultural Community Services Association. I want to bring to the attention of the Minister that the difficulty that the community service agencies faces. First of all, we have, as community service agencies, we always try to look for difficulties of all the immigrants and try to serve them, and so we write proposals. From time to time, we always receive fundings, but they always are project fundings. So project funding means 1 year, 18 months, that's all. And then after that, we will have to look for another funder. So we spend our energy, although it's always good projects, always supported by the ministry, but they give me money for 12 months, and then after that, I have to spend my energy to look for another funder, another funder, another funder. So I hope all these meaningful projects could be like long-term funding instead of just project fundings. And then I hope the minister can ask his federal counterpart to collaborate together for some resources. For example, we receive funding from the federal for link classes. The link classrooms, we use it maybe from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And then after 3 o'clock, if possible, I want to use it for the provincial ESL classes. Unfortunately, no. Because the link funder said, sorry, that's my funding, you can't use it for a provincial program. That's a waste of resources. So I hope the minister can help to resolve this. And then last of all, when we write proposals, we are always rejected for overhead. Like myself and my accountant and people from administrative part can never get paid. So I'm here as a volunteer today, sorry. So please look into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Elliot. The next speaker will be Mr. Alex Ong from the Toronto Chinese Business Association. Alex.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm from the TCBA. Very fortunate that today we don't have any issue about the funding things because although we are a non-profit organization, so we don't have this kind of problem because we never receive funding from the government. So all the project that we have done is self-supported. So today, I just wanted to bring 2 recommendations to the table of the group to discuss. And I hear from all the perspective, there is a key issue is the employment how to help the newcomers to come to have a good job, in Toronto, in Canada, in Toronto. And the second thing is how to help the newcomers to establish a good business in Toronto or in Ontario. So the recommendation for the first initiative is we would like to know if the government is going to have a plan how to subsidize or providing financial incentive for the employers and to help the newcomers to find a job and working for them. So we need, the government to have a plan for that. And the key thing is to help the newcomers find a job within 6 months and a year, because that is very important if we have a plan how to help, how to subsidize the employers, and I think it's going to be crucial. Second is to create a mentorship program for all those merchant or the business people, how to coaching, how to help the newcomer, they want to start a business in Ontario. So we need a plan on that. Thank you.
The next group will be the Toronto Federation of Chinese Parents. We have 2 representatives here today. We have Margaret Wong and Doug Hum.
Thank you. 谢谢。今天呢，这么多个机构已经是你们全是专业的，就是没有人家提起就是教育那一方面的小孩。同时呢，我看到有一个小孩就是我们的未来的加拿大人。但是我们这一个机构就是家长全部义工的，同时也没有什么基金给我们。最近呢，我们就是Karen CNCC 的帮我们申请省政府的一点基金，为了是要给那个我们的讲座，就是新移民来到就不知道我们教育局多伦多教育局的什么程序呢？还有呢，我有个家长问我。中学到哪儿去？因为他的小孩是在幼稚园，他要住在哪儿？要进那个学校，所以这样的情况呢，我们真的需要基金来，把这个我们多伦多的教育程度给新移民，他们知道。那么我现在就交给唐。
Thank you, Margaret. I'm Doug Hum. I'm the Secretary-Treasurer for the Toronto Federation of China. We came into existence in 1998, more or less in a state of crisis, when the previous government amalgamated all the boards and all the services that our parents needed. We work with Chinese-speaking and Chinese-Canadian parents across the city of Toronto. Many of our parents are newcomers. Almost half of the population of the TDSB, Toronto District School Board, are born outside of Canada. I was recently in Shanghai, where I was invited to speak at the Beijing Shanghai Senior High School, and many of those students wanted to come to Canada to study. So this is absolutely critical that the settlement services that the newcomers need are there. The ESL, the language needs, staff to work with newcomers for adjustments. We've lost school community advisors, we've lost youth workers. It's absolutely critical at this time. Many of the issues that Joe Sung outlined, we see it from the parents' end. And many of the issues that Karen outlined, we see it from the parents' end. So these are absolutely critical that the province play a major role here and provide the resources that are available to help parents and families to adjust to our Canadian education system. Thank you.
The next presenter will be Helen Yu from the University Settlement Recreation Center. Helen.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Helen, and I'm from the University Settlement. I guess most of you already know the agency. The only thing I'd like to see is we were founded by volunteers from the University of Toronto, and that's why we call University Settlement. And we were founded in 1910. Which is 98 years ago. So in 2 years, we'll celebrate 100 years anniversary as the first community-based social service organization. The recommendation I bring today as following. The first one is the information package. A detailed information package should be available at their home countries for the newcomers. Before they came to Canada, they should know more information. Let's see about the labor market, about the education here, about the legal system, and also social services. If they can have all the information before they came, they will find it easier to adjust themselves to the new society. The second one is more available and effective employment services. We do have lots of employment programs and services, but the newcomers need is more than just resume or cover letter or just interview skills. They need more effective, let's see, the graduate program. They really lead newcomers to employment. But we do have some programs that's really good, but they have a long waiting list. Let's say you have 2 workers and you have 2 clients waiting. It maybe take 1 or 2 years. Okay, the next one is more immigration service workers. For the newcomers, the most important barrier is their language. From the feedbacks from our clients, they feel it's difficult to get immigration services, such as in the education and other services. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. Once again, we will have more time in the next segment to really elaborate on what our concerns are. The next presenter will be Ms. Xiao Xiao of the Working Women Community Center.
Hello. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I represent Working Women Community Center, which is an agency has a focus on service the needs of the immigrant and refugee women and their family for 30 years. Today I'm here and present some suggestions on immigration service. Like as lots of you just mentioned, we need more language training courses which focus on improving listening and speaking skills. Develop a referral center at the entry ports in order that the newcomers can be connected with our local services. And ongoing community information sessions, Helen just mentioned, we give the newcomer more information regarding their health, mental health, self-esteem, and work rights, domestic violence, and this kind of topic. And as we all know, the population of the Chinese seniors is fast growing. Today I'm here, I would like to address this topic as well. How can we improve their wellness, reduce their isolation, and meet their health and financial needs? Thank you.
The next presenter will be Auntie Lee from the World Association for Chinese Mass Media.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my honor to participate in the Roundtable Forum on Immigration Service in Ontario. I'm the president of World Association of Chinese Mass Media. The World Association of Chinese Mass Media was established in Canada since 1999. Participants are professional and scholars working with the Chinese media through the world, representing a variety of newspaper, magazine, radio, and TV. As a media point of view, I would like to urge the empowered government of Ontario to pay more attention to the new immigrants issues. Recently, the new immigrants are come to Canada has been obviously increased. They have difficulty to find their job and adjust their lifestyle. They are facing the new challenge. We need to find a solution to solve the new immigrants' problems. Some people complain that the funding is not located in the playground. As a matter of fact, I hope the government will take action to improve this. The new immigrant needs to be taken care of and led to build up confidence for survival. I hope the government will wisely distribute all kinds of funding and efficiency and more transparent to let new immigrants understand where they can seek for help. Thank you.
to the first part of our forum. We are all professionals here in our own respective field, and we have a lot to present to the government, and this is the part we're going to do in our second session. Now, for the first session, we have touched upon access issues, funding issues, on settlement services, on employment issues, on mental health issues, on senior services, on the language needs and education. With that, we also have touched upon other issues such as like discrimination, workers' rights, incentives for employers. So this is a big area that we can contribute more on with our second session coming up in the next little while. So I would like to invite Professor Chan, Peter, to give us a very brief summary of what we have covered so far in the first session before we proceed to the second one. Peter?
Okay, Peter.
First of all, I'm so glad that everybody talking many different things instead of repeating the same thing. And also there are some of the ideas which are quite new. So myself and Alec will be giving you some kind of a summary of what we have already spoken. Actually, you have spoken. And see if we can lead to the second part. I'm sure we can, because there are many interesting issues which you have already raised, and which actually myself as a non-professional in this field and who is a little bit familiar with the topic still find it so new. And so, firstly, I see if Alec, would you like to start, or would you like to start? You go ahead. Okay, let's try like this. Let's go through the agenda as we have already done. So for the settlement part, actually you see that there are, other than the so-called very general way of saying that we need to have a settlement program, actually one of the main things is a pre-arrival settlement program, meaning that without settling in Canada, they should have already settled in the homeland for Canada. So this is, I think, probably one of the most important issues, because this issue has been lingering for quite a long time. Probably the Ontario government and even the federal government has been working on it. But on the other hand, probably you will also see that there are still many of these kind of details which could be considered as well. And secondly, there is the idea of distance learning, meaning that actually not only trying to familiarize with the Canada environment from the homeland, but also trying to learn something about the skills and also the kinds of language used for the skills and living when they are at home, meaning the old home, right? And at the homeland, if they can do it, then when they come, probably that's another thing which would be really helpful for them. So the settlement should begin before getting to Canada. And then again, of course, then there is the other part of it is that some of our friends here have already also mentioned another part of the settlement aspects, like mental health. Actually, mental health has been mentioned by several of our colleagues here, saying that, in fact, the mentality stability actually could also be helped when they are at the homeland. And instead of just coming here and suddenly they feel the shock, and then suddenly they find themselves having nowhere to go. And so this is one thing. When mentioning nowhere to go, there are also quite a few organizations mentioning the transparency of information, meaning that there should be more better way of dissemination of information of the services they could get. So far, we, of course, can see that the government is also trying to have the one-stop referral, but probably our agencies thought that there could be some more things to be done. And so hopefully, within the 2 minutes you have already briefed us, but also in the next session you can get into more details, and then in your written suggestions which you can give us later, and then we can get all the details in the report which we submitted to the Ontario government, to Minister Chan, as well as to the different levels of government, as well as the party leaders too. So that is one of the things about the settlement. Then what's the next topic? Education. Education, other than just giving this kind of a so-called normal ESL classes, there are other possibilities, like trying to fund this kind of a very special skilled so-called ESL professional language programs, but also for the not so professional skill program too. So maybe like a technician, or even like working in a factory and other things. And so there is a vast field of opportunities, and of course that's for Michael to develop in the ESL program, because probably this is one of the most mentioned thing in our forum so far. And then of course then there is also the other part of it is the so-called starting point language, meaning that like you want to start a business, if you like to start trying to do this kind of job search, and also trying to get interviewed, then you can have some kind of program which could help you. But of course, we also know that there are programs already available in centers throughout Ontario. But there are also responses that such kind of program are really great as far as learning is concerned. But trying to get a job, that's another thing. So maybe that's another program which could be done, is the follow-up program from the center's education. So there could be more of this kind of follow-up action, other than just telling them how to fill in the forms for seeking employment, but further on. And then again, of course, from the employment aspects, then there is the kind of a so-called mental stress from employment, but not only from employment, but also from seeking jobs while maintaining the family harmony. And so this is one of the things that our organizations here have already mentioned. And so this is one of the important things. And again, of course, for education, our young people here, and also our experienced professionals helping young people, saying that there are other funding which could be helping, like traffic, transport, and also on the living expenses, instead of getting them worried. And also another part of it is trying to help the new immigrant youth to adapt to the environment in school and in the society, and especially in school. So this is mentioned as well. But on the other hand, then there is also the other aspects, like getting committees set up for the needs of the parents as well as the students, and also the kind of an intergovernmental cooperation between different agencies, like the immigration department, as well as the education department, as well as the social community organizations here, as well as other kinds of training professional organizations. I think this is also very important, paramount important, is the interconnection, inter-cooperation between all the agencies concerned. And this, I think, probably would be of interest to the government on this aspect, because this has to be done in a better and also more comprehensive way. And I'm sure that here, our organizations here would be most happy to work with the government and also work with the professional agencies, as well as the business people as well. And so, government, community services, business, professional agencies, education institutions, and all together form some committees or form some kind of a bureau or whatever to help. I think this is a very important and interesting and also with a lot of perspective issue. And then again, of course, there is the seniors. Seniors issue seems to be more like a mental health and also seniors abuse. But this, coming back to the basic, would be that because some people in the new immigrants family are so worried about other things like getting a job, getting recognized, getting to be not racially or gender discriminated. So there would be a way of trying to help them to release the stress, the kind of negative energy, so that the seniors or the children will not be abused. And that, I think, has been mentioned by some several of our organizations here. But again, of course, then there is also the other aspects of business. Developing business by specific categories like women, and also like getting into the Mandarin-speaking group, helping them to really try to know what it is for them in the Ontario for opportunities, and how they can also try to get familiar with a different quote-unquote culture, even within the Chinese community. And so this is one of the things which is also important, and probably you would like to further discuss on this one too. And then there is also the other part of it is the government funding. Of course, the word transparency is appearing from time to time, probably in the next session too. And also another part of it is the channel for information about how the funding would be allocated, and how the community organizations and other professionals and business organizations can get help from this kind of information. So there is the web information providing that the government will be starting or continue or enhancing the way they disseminate the information to the various stakeholders in such a way that they can get it through the web, and also they can help those people through the web. And then there is also another part of the government funding is how the funding could be reallocated and allocated. In that way, some suggestions of the government forming a kind of a multi-level, multi-sectorial, and multi-professional and multi-functional committee or committees for trying to get information and counseling for the government in this aspect, and also trying to form so-called two-way communication in such a way that the government funding could be appropriately used, and also information could be also providing the agencies here and those other agencies to better use and not to duplicate services which may not be actually beneficial to both the government or the agencies. And in that part of it, and then there is also the suggestion that the agencies would also like to provide more input. And so this is one of the things, I think, an important issue for the government to consider, providing input both ways. And then, of course, then there is the other areas like housing, like human rights, and also like the rights of the families and also the parents for more services, and also to address the issues in employment equity, as well as in the kind of education equity. And so these are the things probably would be of interest to the government, and also would be good for our discussions in more detail in the next session. And now Alec would try to provide some more, because he's been also listening very carefully and also sticking taking all those papers over there. And so these papers, I think he will also explain to you what is heard, and probably you can, if you like, we can provide you with the papers and we can take that too, right? Yeah. And so, Alex.
Thank you, Peter. Basically, Peter has been, I don't know what kind of, how his brain is being made. And he covered pretty well most of the stuff that you guys hear today. So, but then compared to talk a few things, you know, and just sort of reiterate. Number one, a lot of new immigrants, when they come to Canada, they have a cultural shock. So I heard a couple of people mention about counseling service. I think it's vital. Like, I'm not sure if it's under the Ministry of Citizenship and Immigration, but I think the different governments should sort of get together to provide service with new immigrants. Because if something happening at home emotionally because of the cultural difference, all kinds of new things that they have to adjust, I'm sure there's ripple effect to all kinds of people, including kids, seeing their bills or, you know, some language flowing around in the house. I don't want them to see that happen. So if something can be done smartly, we can think about it. And the other thing is different level of government or different, you know, like a ministry provide different type of service. The complexity is a sort of like for new immigrant, when they come, I know there's some kind of one-stop center, but you know, how quickly can they fill some of the issues? So sometimes some of the people, they do not even know which one should they go. So those type of things, you know, maybe we can do it a little bit smarter. And in terms of, I heard some of the guys say about the partnership with using the internet technology. When new immigrants, before they come to Canada, there's a lot of information, you know, like that they can acquire prior to, you know, come to Canada with the internet access. But however, unfortunately, I have been spending a lot of time trying to go to the net to find the appropriate information. And like in particular for Chinese, I have gone through, I don't know, many days, weeks, and basically I can only find full page of Chinese things coming out of government website. So unbelievable. But you know, like I think it's coming, so I think we can make use of some of the resources here. For example, you know, some of the agents, they should have resources to convert, you know, like some of the Chinese, you know, and of course the other ethnic group as well. And I know one of the organizations has been very instrumental trying to put up some of the Chinese things to help people how to start the business. So I think there's some things that we should encourage. And I guess without further ado, I don't want to waste too much of the time. We need to move along, and we only have about an hour. So why don't we go on to the part 2 of the organizational summit. So Mena and Professor Peter Chen, please take over the floor. I don't know how you're going to do it. Help us go.
Well, again, we're all professionals. I believe that we can do a lot in terms of input. Peter and Alec I believe, have done a good job, and may not call them summarizing. You may call them doing their own presentation. I don't know. I don't know how you feel. If you're thinking that they may have some misses, they may have some interpretations, this is the time for us to clarify, to put more into it. This is a very important session of the forum. Before we proceed, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Ken Ng, who has just arrived. As we all know, Dr. Ken Ng comes from the Federation of Chinese Canadians in Markham. My boss is asking me to stop.
I'm not your boss, I'm sorry. I apologize for the interruption. Today we have the honor with MPP Mr. Michael Chen to come to see us today. And he would like to say a few words because he has prior commitment. He needs to go shortly. So please give me a warm welcome for Mr. Michael Chen to say a few words. Thank you.
Well, thank you so very much. I must say, you know, this is a tremendous group. I went to many other meetings, and I noticed this one, you know, is so attentive, so focused on when other people are talking, and I discovered, you know, very few people actually need to go to the washroom. So, and so the intensity of this forum, I think, is very beneficial. I learned a lot. As you know, I only become the immigration minister starting November 2007. So I basically, like many of you, on the learning stage, but I can tell you I learned a lot, and there's more to be learned. Today, as Peter summarized, I do have my summary here, which I am going to take back to the ministry. As you know, I'm on the political side, and then I do have the deputy minister who will be doing all these implementation, accepting opinion or rejecting opinion. So I want you to know, there are also challenges within the immigration department, and I do agree with one, which is very stand out here, is the coordination between level of government, which I myself have been advocating about. How come we have different levels, and we all doing different things at the same time. We are overlapping each other, and I can see the efficiency is being wasted, and financial and other resources there is wasted. So I already advocate to address that level. Actually, I've been talking to my counterpart, the federal minister, Finley, regarding that, because they have funding, we have funding, and somebody mentioned about, they get the money, they don't even know which level of government is funding it. So this is horrible. So that has to be addressed. ESL, of course, this is number one, okay. Federal and provincial inclusive, we are funding. We are spending about 300 million a year, okay. Basically, that's the money. That's the money for new people coming to Canada. Okay. Half is spent on language training, ESL. Okay. The federal government is spending 100 million, and the federal government is spending approximately 50 million. So you can see the focus on language training is very much a big part of the program. Of course, would there be any ways to do it? I hear somebody mention about maybe the service provider, maybe one way to get it addressed. Okay, as you know, we start to on the ESL, we have specific language, job-related ESL training. So these are the path we're going to go into. Another big item here, which I think is a key issue for me to address, is the barrier. Okay, as you know, recently we had this 124, Bill 124 passed. Basically, this is like, tear down the barrier, and we are still in the consultation phase with different professional, regulated professions. As you know, some of them are easier to deal with than others, and Commissioner Jane Augustine has been trying very hard to interview, consult, and try to implement some advice to this barrier. And myself, like yesterday, I learned something yesterday from the CPAC meeting and from the professional engineering. They say that you have 4 years. You have to work 4 years before you get your license as a professional engineer. Then you graduate in UOT with an AAAA level, flying color. But you get a job, you have to take 4 years to become a professional engineer. So look, that takes a bit of time. And we had immigrants coming here and they're looking for being licensed, so you can see the difficulty. So these are the things that I do have to, or my department do have to reach out to the professional associations and see the barrier, whether it's too high or too low, or how to make a balance, to strike a balance on that. So this is one thing that, this is my big part of my job, is to turn down the barrier. And I agree with Tony, he's escaped already, Tony Long, about Canadian experience. For many years ago, I do not agree with Canadian experience being the prerequisite of getting a job. Okay, I mentioned many times now, I still like to mention is, Canada, America is outsourcing jobs to other countries. Then what kind of Canadian experience they have in India or Brazil or China? It doesn't make sense. So this is one area that I really want to see it disappear, is the Canadian job experience. And of course, it depends on corporation, big corporation, they set up their own rule, and government cannot tell them what not to do. But then we I want to actively encourage them to, take down these Canadian experience before you can get a job. It doesn't make sense to me. I hope it doesn't make sense to other corporations as well. Looking at this paper here, I want to congratulate you on the budget settlement. Okay. Well, you're not 100 years old, but and it's approaching that way. And I say that because I came to Canada in 1969, and the first settlement agencies I kind of went to, I'm looking for help at that time. I went to for swim, you have swimming pool there. But that's a good name, University Settlement. You guys been doing a fantastic job. And another one, which is a longer history, I think Wood Green on Queen Street, and I still remember I played badminton with Olivia Chow, MP up there. So there are settlements there, but you know what? I'm so happy that we have so many different service providers sitting around in this room. And just imagine how many more out there. And actually, we have so many volunteer people. We have people that so entrenched to help other people. That make this group so beautiful, and so other people out there. So I really thank you for you being here. So yes, the mental, the health, the senior, the youth, the trade, the transportation, the education, the community service is all in my paper here. And I heard you, and as you saw, some of them may be overlapped to other ministry, but then I will be looking at, seriously looking at how MCI, my ministry, can outreach to them or partnership with them so that we can make it more efficient, so that we can help the provider, the service provider to help the people who actually need the help out there. So one more time, thank you so very much. I really think that this is very beneficial for me, so that I can go back and talk to my deputy minister and also to the other ministry. And now I can say I have so many, 32 Chinese origin service provider. I even got to Minister Finney, that let's get together and address the issue of the Chinese issue, the Indian issue, the Spanish issue, and the Italian issue, so that we can make Canada more cultural and, moving ahead. Thank you so much.
Note of what you have already said, because we have 5 people taking notes today. Making statistics of how many times an issue has been mentioned. So with this, our summary, Alex and I have only highlighted some of the things you have already said, but all the details will be in the report, and the report will be given to you, Michael. And also, the other part of it is we also encourage our organizations here to write more detailed submissions for your consideration, and especially now you're doing outreach to not only the community but also to your government agencies, and that will be great. And also, as you have mentioned, all the other things like breaking barrier is one very important thing as well, for not only the new employment or other issues for the immigrants, but also for the agencies with the government as well. So that would be great that you have come here, and also hope that you'll be considering all these, and also I'm sure that you'll be contacting all the agencies here later on, which I understand, and so expect us to have a report to you, a formal report, and also this will also be given to all the participating organizations here as well as to the other government agencies.
And one follow-up here, I visited many of your organizations, and some of organizations here I have not, I'm sorry, heard about, and maybe put the Chinese name is easier for me because I read Chinese paper, I mean 3 or 4 Chinese paper every day, looking at the pictures and trying to familiar myself with all the organizations out there. So today I get all these English, so I just cannot pick it up. And also, if I have not been to your organization and you feel that I need to come in to see you, and please give me an invitation, because I've been working very hard. My hour is from 7 to 10 o'clock. I mean 7 in the morning to 10 at night. Okay. So I have been working hard, and I'm more been pleased to come to your organization. I went to first I had your it was through Minister Philip. And before, I don't even know it's so big. So it's important that I've been invited, have a look at what's going on, and I'd like to do that. Okay, thank you.
Minister, welcome to our university settlement. We'll reserve the swimming pool for you.
There will be Chinese and English names for the organizations here. And also, probably, we'll thank Michael again. And also now we are actually expecting to start our second part. Of course, you can go to one room